Will China invade Taiwan? Will he win the fight against the US? Will it result in a battle? The waters in the Taiwan Strait are not exactly quiet, so let's talk about Taiwan. The monthly transit of US ships through the strait has infuriated Beijing. Taiwan's fighter fighters were forced to scramble due to China moving nearly 150 warplanes into its air defense zone. The US and China are engaged in a tug-of-war over Taiwan. Hello there guys, welcome back to the channel, and greetings. Today's video will discuss China's invasion of Taiwan, so be sure to stay focused. There are real concerns about how this could all turn out. Taiwan would be the only issue that may lead to war between the US and China. Why then is Taiwan such a subject of contention between the two world superpowers? Taiwan is an island that is caught in a state of political inaction. It is a democratically autonomous region. China, which lies across the river, claims Taiwan as its own, but many Taiwanese disagree. Then you add the US, which has assumed the position of a neighborhood watchman, and Taiwan has become the focal point for many powerful contending interests. But you have to know the history to understand how we got here. Imperial China dominated Taiwan for 200 years before Japan took control of it after defeating China in a war for 50 years. Remember that the US wasn't exactly a supporter of communism, thus the ROC in Taiwan was mostly responsible for securing international recognition, including a seat at the UN. However, by the 1970s, that seat was no longer truly necessary. The ROC was expelled after the UN passed a resolution affirming the delegates from the PRC as the only legitimate representatives of China to the UN. We have been left alone. We have been abandoned. What does this signify for Taiwan's current political situation then? From Beijing's standpoint, it is now fairly obvious that China is a single nation, of which Taiwan is a component. Following U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taipei, China began conducting its largest ever military exercises, raising tensions in the Taiwan Strait. In reaction to U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, China has begun its largest ever military exercises in the area, deploying dozens of fighter jets and vessels and firing ballistic missiles. Beijing referred to Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, which it regards as Chinese territory, as an irresponsible provocation by the U.S. towards China. The ongoing military exercises, which started on Thursday and will go until Sunday, are supposed to show how determined it is to defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity, the statement claimed. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations warned that the situation could lead to miscalculation, serious confrontation, open conflicts, and unpredictable consequences among major powers due to the exercises, which have heightened regional tensions. Japan claimed that several missiles fired by Chinese forces landed in its exclusive economic zone. Meanwhile, late on Thursday, Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen urged the world to stop China's unilateral and unreasonable military moves in a statement. She added that Taiwan would steadfastly protect its sovereignty and national security without inciting war. China made a show of force in the Taiwan Strait by deploying dozens of planes and launching real missiles close to Taiwan. In reaction to Nancy Pelosi's visit to the self-governing island, China undertook extensive military drills and launched a volley of ballistic missiles into the waters around Taiwan. During Thursday's drills, 22 Chinese fighter jets were briefly seen crossing the Taiwan Strait, according to Taiwan's defense ministry, and in response, Taipei scrambled fighter fighters. According to a website update from the defense ministry, air defense missile systems were deployed to track the jets and blasted radio alerts. According to Chinese official media, the live-fire drills near Taiwan began at noon local time and will last until the same time on Sunday. Zhang Yun, China's ambassador to the UN, told Al Jazeera that the country's increased military activity directly reacted to Pelosi's divisive visit. Pelosi defied several stern warnings from Beijing, which regards the island as its property, becoming the most prominent U.S. politician to visit Taiwan in decades. How concerning are the military exercises in China? According to Chinese official media, live-fire sea and air drills are occurring in 6 zones all around Taiwan, which is located 180 kilometers off the coast of China. According to CCTV, they involve more than 100 aircraft, including bombers, fighter jets, and 10 vessels. Taiwan has denounced the exercises, claiming that some of them constitute an air and sea blockade of the island and violate Taiwan's territorial waters. Chinese rocket troops launched 4 ballistic missiles into the waters around Taiwan on the opening day of the drills, a first since 1996. According to Taiwan's defense ministry, Dongfeng ballistic missiles were among the 11 fired. Japan has raised stern diplomatic protests over the landing of at least 5 missiles in its EEZ, which extends 200 nautical miles from the outer borders of its territorial seas. Along with advising ships and aircraft to take alternate routes, Taiwanese authorities on Thursday canceled hundreds of flights at the Taoyuan airport in the nation's capital, Taipei. According to local media, services from South Korea's Korean Air and Asiana Airlines to Taiwan were also halted for 1 or 2 days because of the exercises. China might invade Taiwan. How challenging would that be? Questions over whether Beijing intends to invade Taiwan have returned in response to China's great military exercises, especially after the state-run tabloid Global Times published expert comments describing the drills as a practice for reunification. It reported Chinese mainland military analyst Song Zhongping saying, "In the event of a future military conflict, it is likely that the operational plans currently being practiced will be directly transferred into combat operations." Despite the hyperbole, many experts agree that in the short term, neither China nor the U.S. wants conflict in Taiwan. Bonnie Glaser, head of the Asia program at the U.S.-German Marshall Fund, said, "China is attempting to caution the U.S. and Taiwan against taking additional measures that challenge Chinese red lines. They are showing off their military prowess to enforce a blockade on Taiwan." However, President Xi Jinping does not desire war with the U.S. According to her, he has not decided to attack Taiwan. However, even if China, which has the strongest fighting force in the world and has quickly modernized its military, wants to annex Taiwan, doing so would be dangerous. Observers claim that its forces would need to cross the Taiwan Strait with more than 100,000 soldiers while subjected to aircraft and naval bombardment. If the soldiers were to reach Taiwan's coasts, it would be challenging to land because the island's rocky shoreline has few places appropriate for unloading armored personnel carriers, tanks, and artillery. Additionally, there is a chance that an invasion might lead to a more serious conflict between China and the U.S. The Taiwan Relations Act of 1979 requires the U.S. to aid Taiwan in self-defense, even though it does not recognize the island as a distinct state. U.S. President Joe Biden said in May that Washington would defend Taiwan with force in case of a Chinese assault. Taking over Taiwan would give you access to a key port in Kaohsiung and a gateway to the Blue Pacific and Guam, a U.S. territory halfway between Hawaii and Hawaii, she told Al Jazeera. Chinese military strategists have referred to Taiwan as the buckle in the chain that keeps the PLA bottled up behind the first island chain, she said. Although it has never ruled Taiwan, the People's Republic of China, as the administration in Beijing is officially known, regards the 23 million-person island as a part of its territory. The Chinese government vehemently rejects any official interactions between Taipei and Washington and has referred to Pelosi's visit as a provocation and an infringement on its sovereignty. Pelosi is a long-standing China hawk. Her visit also comes at a delicate moment, only weeks before the 20th Congress of the Communist Party, when President Xi Jinping is rumored to lay the basis for an unprecedented third term. In a recent conversation with Biden, Xi forcefully opposed Taiwanese independence and involvement from outside forces and cautioned the U.S. president against playing with fire over Taiwan. That's all we have for you today. Take a look at how you can predict Taiwan's situation. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't want to miss any future videos, subscribe to the channel and click on notifications.